Hi everybody, it's the CC and JT Amateur Hour Production Value Coach today. That one over there is CC.
And that's JT.
And happy Easter. It is Sunday, April 5th, 2025. You know, we should say the date every time we do these because we've done so many of those, but we're so lazy. Anyway, what?
2026.
Ooh, yeah. I'm still signing my checks, 2025.
In April.
In April. I haven't written a single check in so many months. It's been so long. Okay, let's dive into things. It is Easter, and without offense, as our kids used to call it, Happy Zombie Jesus Day.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to be circling back around to that guy because that's kind of the purpose of today's podcast. Yep. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that guy, a little bit today, and his impact on society.
And if you are a fan of the movie Sister Act, you may remember that they sang My Guy about Jesus.
But first, we're just going to do very quick updates. We're going to talk about manuscripts, what we did yesterday, what we're doing this weekend, and then we'll dive into the podcast because we're supposed to be giving you hooks to keep you to stay. So please stay. First of all, your manuscript, you've got one manuscript back from Red Dead, yes, which was Restless Spirits Ghosts.
Mm-hmm. So I have a lot of editing to get done in the next 2 weeks, actually less than 2 weeks now. Plus I've been fast drafting Battleborn Bride. Mm-hmm. Battleborn Bride is on hold while I do the edits for Restless Spirits 2. And of course, Restless Spirits 3 is on the back burner.
Right. I should say also that you've been keeping everybody up to speed on your manuscripts, mm-hmm, on your YouTube channel that you should be saying, hi Lisa, we should be.
Yes, I am doing daily YouTube videos. So far this year I've posted a video every day. They're not always great, but I'm doing it. Mm-hmm. And I have a playlist going for fast drafting my work in progress. I just started a playlist for editing my work in progress. Plus I have my overall Life of a Writer 2026. So everything that we're up to, like what we did yesterday, I've been posting. And yesterday, the video I posted yesterday does have a little bit of footage from what we did yesterday.
Yeah, we're going to get to that. We're hooking you in. So those are your my manuscripts is the sequel to The Finding Salvation is at Red Adept. If the edits will start on Friday. And then I'm lollygagging on this manuscript, which I'm doing something completely different on this one, and it's going to be frustrating to some readers who've been waiting for next books of other series. But I've decided that for this particular book, I'm going to be taking my time. And I'm not going to talk too much about that now because that's not the purpose of this podcast. We might talk about it next podcast. But I am serious in lollygagging mode, and there's a reason for it. But I'm not going to talk about that right now. So I'm, again, trying to hook you in. And, that does affect, for example, the Maggie book 4, which is totally on the shelf until this book is done. So I know folks.
Oh, boy.
But, you pardon me?
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. So I know people want that. But, that's, it's a creative thing. And I know there's a couple other sequels that people are waiting for. And they're just going to have to. They're just,
Not to mention the compendium. I'm getting dirty looks.
You did that, Jennifer. You did that.
Actually, I think I was the first one to get it.
You were, and then it's like independently. So, things are rolling along on the manuscript side. So, awesomeness.
So, you have the sequel to this,
yes,
in edits, and you're thinking of releasing it in summer?
Right.
My Restless Spirits book 2 will be coming out either Memorial Day weekend or early June, sometime around there. Battleborn Bride is set for October. I'm already setting up dates for that, so I need to get that book done.
And especially if you are fans of the Sierra Arts Foundation, big book release party. Already got that date zeroed in. Yep. Again, we're going to be talking about it as we get closer. We're trying to hook you in. And
I don't want to advertise the date too much because things could still happen, but yeah. I have a date locked in stone for October and it's coincidentally around close to the same time as Mark Twain Days, which the book does mention Mark Twain. So we have at least 3 books coming this year.
And it's funny because we mentioned to a local reporter this book yesterday, and he was so very interested. Good morning, Jeff. Hope you're watching. But when you described that book to him, his eyes just went.
It should be, I hope, fingers crossed, a good introduction to Carson City history, very early Nevada history, Nevada statehood. I am trying not to overwhelm people with all the details, but just give you a taste. I'm thinking it should have a bibliography, and it may even have book club questions in the back.
Ooh, so it could be good. Could be fun. And you got time to do it, so you can,
Yeah.
So
I just need to get the manuscript to the editors, and the rest I can do later.
Right. And that's our updates on manuscripts for appearances this week, upcoming weekend, April 11th. We will be at the Nevada State Museum as part of their spring book. This was our first book signing, wasn't it? A year ago.
Yep.
Last year was my first book signing. And so we're going to be doing that again because we always have fun with them.
Hi, Casey.
Casey, thank you, Casey. Casey is a big supporter of local writers, and a lot of local writers have books in the Nevada State Museum gift shop.
Yes.
So that is fantastic, and so we thank Casey for her support of local writers, something she doesn't have to do. I reached out to another state agency that has a bookstore, ghosted.
It may be because they look for a very particular kind of book, and I may approach them again about Battleborn Bride because it might be more in line of what they want to have in their bookstore.
Yeah, that's a good idea. At least we hope so.
And it is challenging because the gift shop that you're mentioning is not the executive branch, so...
you just basically gave it away.
Not necessarily.
Oh, how many bookshops are there in Carson City that are not in the executive branch?
I don't know.
It's the Supreme Court, I guess.
Could be. I wonder if the Supreme Court has a gift shop. I don't think so.
Okay. Nevada Supreme Court. I doubt it.
So we will say, just as a random aside, in the Capitol Plaza area where the Nevada State Capitol is located, you will find the Nevada Supreme Court and the Nevada State Legislature. All 3 of those buildings are in that one lot.
No, when I typed it up, it brought up the U.S. Supreme Court. But
I didn't think they did.
Yeah, I can't imagine the Nevada Supreme Court.
Getting into the Supreme Court is challenging.
Yeah, probably, what would they do? A gavel paperweight or anything? Okay.
They might.
So let's segue to what happened yesterday. And so much cuteness.
It was
so
fun.
So much fun. If I did everything correctly, at the header of this blog post for this podcast is the picture that Jeff from Carson Now took of us, of our booth at the Easter egg hunt yesterday at the Pete Livermore Sports Complex in South Carson, and hundreds of kids. And it was just so adorable. We got to see so much cuteness, and we had the front seat. If you look down, there's 4 diamonds, and the home plates of those baseball diamonds are next to each other. So you see what you have is end up with 4 slices of a pie, basically. And we ended up in the slice of the pie in front of the baseball field. That is the 0 to 3 age group.
So it was the southeast corner.
Yes, it was the southeast corner. Yes, southeast corner. Oh my God, the kids are so cute, and then
so many kids.
So many kids, and well, it's a free event, something that's put, supported by sponsors in the city.
Well, we should say that it was put on by the Nevada Day Committee.
Yes.
So they did a great job.
Oh, they did, and it was just so much fun, and seeing all those kids. There was one kid that was just parked in front of us. So what it is they line up in the warning track before they can go crazy. They lined up the entire warning track, and it was the entire warning track.
Yeah,
was filled.
Families.
And also, when they were done, not a single egg.
Nope.
I mean, and we're talking hundreds, if not thousands.
I think there were thousands, honestly. They were the neon bright ones, so you could really see them in the grass because obviously very little kids.
But the funny part was there was one kid right in front of us in his little jean outfit with his vest and his hair slicked and everything, and he's saying, rules. I don't need rules. I don't need rules. And he's out there, and he's not even, he's throwing the eggs around. He too young to grasp the concept.
Doesn't really care.
And Dad is trying to, corral him in, and that was a waste of time. Dad would give him the basket, through the basket.
JT actually made the comment that we should go tell these people that this is the best time of their lives. And it's like, remembering when we were there, people did tell us that, and you're so exhausted because you're trying to wrangle your kids that you don't appreciate it.
You're trying to control a human being, and trying to control a human being of any age, but one with zero filters.
It's a very difficult time, but oh man, it was, looking back, it's so cute because you know, honestly, even our grandkids now are past the age where they care about that. So it's you look back with fondness.
You just want to go up to them and shake the parents and say, "Listen, I know you're going crazy, but it doesn't get any better than this. You know, this is just the most wonderful time in your life." And but I got to have my little bit of fun too, because this was what I just started doing. Is just like, you guys are so cute. Give me your cameras. I take pictures, and you know,
the official photographer.
You hand it back to them. You know, it's like at the end, the very last one, these parents and these two little girls, and they were sitting on the back of the cart eating all the chocolate, and we had leftover chocolate, and I gave them all their chocolate. I gave them all their chocolate, gave them the picture, and they were just so photogenic. It just, you know, really, that's
so many. I mean, the kids were adorable, but the young parents too, because I mean, all of these parents are younger than our kids now.
Yeah. And
it's just seeing them all and remembering that we were once that young. It's just a major trip down memory lane.
When dinosaurs roamed the earth.
We did our share of Easter events.
God, that was so much fun. Okay, let's talk very quickly about upcoming appearances. We already gave you the hint. We're going to be at the Nevada State Museum on April 11th for that. Do we have anything else confirmed? I thought we did, but
Sierra Arts Book Fest.
Well, Sierra Arts Book Fest in June.
Yeah.
So we'll be over in that neighborhood, over in the square.
Victorian Square.
In
Sparks.
And that was fun. And you know, we have a couple of others that we're debating. We're going back and forth on. But you know, we did sell books yesterday, not a great money, and we have set a new standard. You know, it's like we used to think, you know, maybe we'll sell a dozen, or maybe we'll sell, you know, 10, and
a handful.
Yeah, and so our new standard is 0. If we sell anything more than 0, it's a successful.
Honestly, we did not expect to really sell anything at this event because it was kids themed, and we don't have any kids books. But if you are a fellow self-published author and you decide to do something like this, we printed out some coloring sheets that were very popular. So I recommend doing that. It doesn't take much. Plus, we also had candy on the table, which we've had candy at other events, which is not quite as popular as you would expect. A lot of people didn't want it for various reasons.
It cleaned us out.
And we used the new banner.
Right. Oh, yes. You'll see the banner in the picture. And, you know, maybe it caught some people's eyes. I don't know, but still.
But we did have a very nice family come up, and they were chatting with us, and they commented that they like to support local authors. Yeah. And they bought the Sheriff in Nevada series. So we thank you.
Thank you, Ian.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Ian. Okay, so I think we've done a little bit of name dropping today. Let's chat about something. Fun. Last time we were kind of down.
Yeah, a little bit.
Today we're kind of up. Not only because of the book sales, because the kids are so cute, but also this last couple of weeks. First of all, we had a couple of fantastic podcasts. We had some.
We did. Check them out if you haven't.
Well, really, just check out those podcasts. Hannah and Dan.
Yep.
Hannah and Dan. I'll put the links in there, but not only are they very intelligent people and they're very photogenic people, they're very articulate, and it was just if we ever do a best of the CC and JT, they would be there because they just presented themselves so very well.
Yes.
And that's probably because of the education and experience, but it's like when we do bring our writers on this podcast and the Nevada Author Network, I always feel it's a privilege. And, sometimes we've gotten the impression that they're thanking us to be on there, but no. I think it's our privilege.
We are doing it as a mutual support situation because we're hoping that we're promoting each other. And really the only thing we ask of the authors we interview is that they do promote their podcast on their social media. We don't ask anybody to pay, we don't do appearance fees type of thing. I don't know. I don't really even understand why podcasts would do that. We don't have any sponsors. I mean, if we did have an unofficial sponsor, it would be Jack in the Box.
And we're going to talk about Jack here in a minute.
But it's, we know how hard it is to get out there and promote yourself. And it's really, really hard to promote yourself.
Yeah.
But we're finding that it's easier to try to promote other authors because we like to talk to them. We like to talk about their books. I try to read as many of them as I can. I have quite a TBR stack by my chair right now. But I know they're very grateful to be able to come on to the podcast, but we're also very grateful to have them because if we don't support each other like this, it just makes the life of an independent author so much harder.
Yeah, and it's free to all of us. And you know, and I apologize, Ashley. I gave out your last name, Ashley Hannah Morgan.
Right.
But you know, to have people like Ashley and Dr. Dan on.
And we should also mention we did a one-off with Jeff Brunnings about the Truckee Literary Crawl.
Yes.
And that one is also live out there. So that will be happening next weekend. Unfortunately, we have a conflict, so we can't make it. But you should definitely check that one out. And if you want to go check out another group of interesting local authors, they are doing readings and they need you to RSVP because some of the venues are small.
Yeah.
So go check that out right away.
And Jeff Runnings is, again, a very, very articulate, intelligent person who represents his cause very well. And to have these three people on our podcast is a privilege. So we want to thank Ashley.
Ashley, Dan, and Jeff.
Yes, thank you very well. Somebody else got this. Okay, so let's segue into the main topic. And as I said, a couple weeks ago, we did our podcast. A couple weeks ago, we were kind of down. Then yesterday happened, and we're kind of up, obviously, and caffeine. Not just any caffeine. Go to Jack in the Box. Get the best coffee in a fast food restaurant you ever can. Okay.
But we should say that the other reason that we're up is that we actually have, not just yesterday, but we did sell a few books over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So it comes in fits and starts.
Yeah, peaks and valleys.
But I actually sold a couple copies of my book.
Yeah, paper copy.
2 paperbacks. So thank you whoever bought those. I appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy them.
Okay.
But back to Jack in the Box.
One thing that we've learned in our age is just be kind. Just be kind. So we got a Jack in the Box meal a couple weeks ago.
Really good one.
Oh my God, it was. We usually get the same order. Just as a health note, tortillas are basically just flat sugar. So we get the meat
lovers.
The meat lovers burrito without the tortilla. And for some reason, this particular bowl, and they're all usually pretty good. Today's was excellent. Mm-hmm. But usually they're good. But that one was particularly good. So you know what I did is I picked up my phone and called them. They never pick up. But I left voicemail and said, "Hey guys, thank you. You guys did a wonderful job today." And you know what? It took like 30 seconds to leave some kindness. Mm-hmm. The next bowl we got, we got this little note here in there, and I don't know if you can read that, but it says, "We appreciate you. Enjoy." So
they remembered us. Because...
That was very nice. And they went out to our podcast and they made a comment thanking us, saying they appreciated us, and it just, it's like, wow, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Really, it's the little things, because like when we were talking to people yesterday, we mentioned we sold one series, but we talked to a lot of people. We talked to a lot of parents. We talked to a lot of kids. And we had just a great time interacting with people. Right. Whether or not we sold anything was not the point. I think everybody was having a good time. Mm-hmm. And we were face to face, which I think people need to do more often right now. Mm-hmm. And realizing that even though we could tell, some people had very different interests and mm-hmm. beliefs than we do, but we were still being kind and friendly to each other.
Yeah, and kindness.
Yep.
It's kindness. And we don't go into the political and religion on this podcast, but it being Easter, I think that there's a place for it today. And we're not going to go too far. We're not going to try to preach. We're not going to pontificate. But there are some things here that we need to say out loud that, you know, I don't want to say there's a boiling between the surface of CC and me, but I think there's some that we can handle this subject with strength, and I want to talk about that because it is Easter, or as our kids used to call it, to my great amusement, Zombie Jesus Day.
Did they ever say that in front of your grandmother? I don't remember.
She probably would have
She
laughed.
wouldn't have understood, but she would have laughed.
So, random this morning, getting prepared for this podcast, I went out and I Googled Jesus' main message. Jesus' main message. The responses came back. There were five things listed by the Google AI app, which I forget what it's called. I don't care.
Is that Claude?
No, I don't know what it is. I don't care. There's so many AIs.
Something else we don't discuss.
And also, in my professional opinion, as an IT specialist since the 1980s, these AIs are going to start disappearing because they're just not going to make the money that people think they're going to make.
Yeah.
Okay. So the 5 main messages of Jesus per Google, which of course is a religious expert, is the kingdom of God, the arrival of God's rule on earth, which brings healing, justice, and community rather than political conquest. Repentance, a turning back to God and a change of heart. Unconditional love, guess which one we're going to be going back to. Summarized in the 2 greatest commandments, love God with all your heart and love your neighbor as yourself. Grace and mercy, offering forgiveness and inclusion to outcasts, poor, and sinners. And finally, the one that I try to live by is the golden rule, treating others as you want to be treated. And I think the weakness of the American society that believes that it is built on the Christian foundation of Jesus is loving way too much in the Old Testament and not enough in Jesus' word. And I think it's the hypocrisy that probably drives me crazy, is that those who claim to be messengers and carriers of Jesus' mission are using him as a bludgeon to push back society, so much so that when somebody does something kind, it is the exception and not the rule. And that's not the purpose of this podcast. I'll be right up front saying it.
Right.
The purpose of this podcast is to help writers write. But as writers, we cannot help but be affected by what is happening in this society. And some of us write about what is happening in this society, the great hypocrisy, as we could call it, where those who claim to be at Jesus' right hand, make sure I use right hand, claim to be at Jesus' right hand, but with their left hand push everything back and down, and it is not what he intended. I'm going to take a breath here because obviously I'm a little worked up. Take it away.
So just to be a little bit more fair to people of all faiths, each faith does seem to have their own prophet, and they do have similar messages. We are just more familiar with the Christian tradition because even though we're not strictly religious, we were brought up that way because America. And it is, I think each faith does have a similar thought process when it comes to being kind to others and to, love your neighbor as yourself, that kind of thing. However they may phrase it, whoever their prophet may be. And we're not saying that one religion is better than another or anything, because that's where the problems come in. Basically, we're all people. We all have strong beliefs of some kind, whether it's religious or not. And it's very easy to fight your neighbors because you don't believe what they believe. I mean, we are in communities where there are a lot of neighbors that don't have the same beliefs, and you can definitely see that during a political season. But the idea of, there's that thought of turning the other cheek, that, if your neighbor lashes out, what Michelle Obama famously said, when they go low, we go high. It's much easier to be kind to someone than it is to be mad, to start fighting with them. And I think what JT probably agrees with me with is that, aging ourselves here again, but there was a song in the 1960s, what the world needs now is love, sweet love.
Mhm.
That's the only thing that there's just too little of. And really, that's what it boils down to. Whatever your beliefs, whether religious or political, we're all human. We all have hopes and dreams and people we love. So just be kind to each other, because we have more similarities than we do differences.
Yeah, we found this yesterday because when we were watching the baseball field in front of us full of children, we were seeing a mixture of humanity, just an amazing mixture of humanity. Mm-hmm. And something, those kids who 0-3, they don't care.
Nope.
They were having fun side by side,
Mm-hmm.
And we were seeing all, we had, we had East Asian people come to our booth. We had Hispanic people come to our booth.
Yep.
Of course, white Americans come to our booth.
Yep.
And, they were all there for the candy. But, some were very polite.
Very polite,
And it was just, it's this great hypocrisy that our political leaders are displaying now, thinking that cruelty is strength, that a good offense is a good offense, in that, if they're not white, they're wrong, is just, and if they're not CIS, they're wrong. And this exclusion, this thoughtful, methodical, offensive exclusion of everything that isn't white CIS is
male.
Is not what Jesus wanted. Unconditional love of your neighbor and yourselves is our highest form of social evolution. Everything we should be doing should be focused in that direction, and I suspect, in your opinion, in my opinion.
Yes.
And we're regressing and we're getting away from that. If you are truly a Christian that excludes, then you're not the Christian that Jesus wants, in my opinion.
It's a frustrating thing, because if you think about the story of what happened to Jesus, that whole, I'm sure if you are of the Christian faith, you know that story very well. And the idea that he was oppressed and then he was basically done away with, that whole story. But then what happened to the oppressors afterward? The story continues to revolve around Jesus, but they, I think this is a lesson that some people in power are completely missing, both through religion and through history, is that the oppressors, they may oppress for a while, but it will come back.
And we don't know how that's going to happen.
No. We're not predicting anything.
I saw something the other I saw something the other day, and I'm paraphrasing. It's like, how you love is who you are. How you love is who you are, and that's pretty much it. And we are also not claiming the higher road here. We said this earlier. We are not certainly perfect in turning the other cheek. We have not gotten to that stage.
I doubt that I ever will. I try.
It takes really a higher form of social evolution to get there. But on the flip side of it, it's so much easier to try to do that than it is just to cut loose with the negative emotions and let those guide your life and decision making.
Yeah.
Because the other truism in life is karma is a bitch, big time. And the decisions that you make feed your future.
Mm-hmm.
And you get the future. It's like we're aware of folks that have made decisions that that we're in the here and now, and it as Cece said, it comes around.
It does.
It does come around, and now they are living with those decisions that they didn't have to be. And folks, there's folks out there, like, we'll just use a general example. Let's say, for example, when you were young, you maxed out 5 credit cards. You maxed out 5 credit cards thinking, well, I got to have the big screen TV. I've got to have this. I've got to have that, these kind of things. I've got to have the computer, which, again, we don't have the high road because I'm looking over there and I see all these laptops. But what goes around comes around, or what comes around goes around. And then you end up paying those for credit cards like for 10, 15
Or
years.
longer.
And again, that, because of the interest and making minimum payments.
And we will say that we went through a period where we maxed out credit cards. We were using credit cards to buy groceries because, we were working in public service. We weren't making a ton of money, and it's
But
challenging to raise a family. But the idea that, definitely we don't have the higher ground here. We went through credit counseling. We managed to get back on our feet, but some people aren't able to do that for various reasons. So, it is...
They got to get through today.
Right. You do. Like I said, we were using them to buy groceries because we had to feed the kids. And we were living paycheck to paycheck, but even that wasn't stretching. So we understand why it happens.
But you don't have to live a life with hate
right.
in order to do that. And that
Right.
seems to be what's going on here. People accept that hate and cruelty is the coin of the realm, so to speak. And we can guess where that cliche comes from.
But on the flip side of that, we will say that while we were struggling financially, we did have some organizations that helped us out.
Yes.
I remember, was it a Thanksgiving or a Christmas?
Mm-hmm.
There was a support organization within the military that provided us a very nice holiday meal. And that's the kind of kindness that comes back to you tenfold, because seeing the faces of people who didn't know if they could feed their kids for Christmas, when you see one of those organizations like Toys for Tots, buy a toy and donate it. It doesn't take that much. If you have $10, $20, it doesn't have to be something expensive, but you're really bringing a lot of joy to a family. So
go to the store.
Yep.
Get a basket.
Yep.
Go to the travel aisle where the travel things
yeah.
are. Fill up the basket, and then take what you have in that basket. After you pay for it, remember that, and take it to your local organization. We have fish.
Right.
And so we just take it, and they will distribute it to as it's
people
needed.
in need.
And
Yep.
again, that's $20, $30, $40. It's not a big deal, but
Yeah,
is a big
yeah.
deal for some people.
Oh
so,
yeah.
But doing
Even
those things,
socks and jackets. I mean, there are so many different ways you can help people, and it really doesn't take much.
is expressions of kindness without receiving credit is probably it's another form of social evolution.
Mm-hmm.
Let me say that again. Being kind and supporting people without seeking credit is another form of social evolution. And boy, do we need a lot more of that. And we do see that, by the way, unfortunately, with people who are out there doing GoFundMes for medical conditions. Isn't it fun to live in a country where we have to rely on GoFundMe to pay for our medical expenses? But you see people out there dropping $5, $10, $15 on these folks, often anonymously. Again, giving kindness and charity without seeking credit is really a high form of social evolution. So we recommend that too. Now we went off and we did a pontificating and preaching, but this is an important subject, and it's important. And since this is a writer's podcast, bringing that back, think as a writer how you can express the cruelty that seems to be the forest fire of our society with the little pockets of sanity that is the kindness, and how you could express that in your writing. And if you're a writer, you're thinking about doing something like that, and if you're like Cece and me right now, we're thinking that it's so much easier to write about the cruelty than it is the kindness. And if we were to follow Jesus' teaching, it would be the flip of that. But here we are.
Well, and to the writing point, it is, if you are writing just regular popular fiction, that's one thing. If you are writing something fictional or nonfiction that has a historic slant, we're obviously too close to current affairs to really do them justice, because we're right in the thick of things. However, it's interesting that I'm writing about the Civil War era, and the country was very divided. There were a lot of very cruel things happening, and seeing the parallels between what happened then and what happened now. Obviously, it's not a one-to-one comparison, but sometimes it's not a bad idea to look back at history and see that we have been here before. We managed to get past it, and hopefully some will say that each time we get past it, we go forward, and when we regress less. So these are theoretically evolutionary leaps that we're having. I hope so, but definitely look at your history, especially if you're a writer. Even if you're writing current events, look at history, because that will help you frame what you're trying to write about.
Just be kind.
We're tired, right?
Yeah, we're just tired. Just be kind. Just be nice.
And we will say, from a reader's point of view, when you see your independent authors out there in the wild, we don't bite.
Yeah.
So if nothing else, just say hi.
Yeah.
I don't think most of us will try to monopolize or hard sell you. We're just sitting there waiting to see if somebody would find our books interesting.
Yeah, the first visitor we had, he just sort of stopped in, took a look, and said hi, and he moved on. And you know what?
That was great.
That was great. Do that.
So there are many ways to be kind to people, whether you are a writer, whether you are a reader, or whether you're just a person in general.
So let me bring this up real quick. How to support writers without buying books. We'll just go through this list real quick. And then, we'll just say this real quick. How to support your writers if you can't buy your books. And we get it. Buying books is hard. But we'll just very quickly scroll.
Well, I will say number one, if you can't afford to buy the books, go to your local library and request that they get a copy, whether an ebook or a copy.
Right. So, if you do buy books, please, first of all, leave reviews. Please leave reviews. Online reviews are just wonderful. Talk to your friends and family. Word of mouth is the way to push not only books but everything else we do in life. Remember, we always talk about we went to this movie and it was great.
Mm-hmm.
I read this book and I think you would be interested. So recommend books.
Mm-hmm.
If you see us out on social media, that's us there sitting like we're sitting in our booths. Just say hi, like a post and repost or something like that. Like Cece said, borrow books from the libraries, because if you see our books in the libraries, we are going to get pennies on the dollar for every time somebody checks out a book, which is awesome. And as Cece said again, request the books from the libraries and at bookstores, especially independent bookstores. None of these things cost you any money. None of these things cost money.
Well, if you request them at your local bookstore, inevitably you will probably end up buying it.
Yes.
We have been trying to do our little bookstore here, but one of the reasons it's probably not going well is because the cost of shipping has gone up quite a bit. So we understand if you cannot support us that way, but doing these other things can be very helpful.
Yes. So be kind to writers.
Yes.
But mostly be kind to yourselves and everybody around you.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we pontificated and reached enough, don't you think?
This is definitely outside of our comfort zone, but it is a very important topic. And we do appreciate the people that, both JT and I, we've mentioned that we met when we were working fast food. We know how challenging that job can be. A lot of customer service jobs, people really do not treat them well. Customers do not treat them well. So if you go to your local fast food restaurant, a lot of them are high school kids. Be nice to them. Mm-hmm. Don't say rude things about their uniforms. It's just be nice.
Yeah, just be nice. Obviously, somebody got triggered. We're not going to talk about the particular uniform or pin. Yeah. Okay.
Sometimes decisions are not really thought out well.
Okay. Breathe. Okay.
You can tell we're a little, I'm hopped up on fake coffee, I guess.
Well, we're going to let you go now. I think we've said enough. But again, kindness, unconditional love yourselves, love your neighbors, and offer forgiveness and treat others as you would want to be treated.
Whatever your beliefs, that's when it's really the hardest, is when you do not agree with someone. But you have to realize that even though you don't agree with each other, you still have a lot in common.
Yeah, and respect and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Take care. We'll be back here in a couple weeks. In the meantime, we're going to have Ruben on. Hopefully, I need to reach out to Ruben and get you on here. Okay.
And like we said, we're going to be at the Nevada State Museum next weekend, April 11th. So if you are in Carson City and you want to say hi, please stop by. It's worth your while to visit the museum. If you haven't been there, it's a lot of fun.
Yep. And every once in a while, I'll pop into Common Coffee. You see me with with this sign on the table here, swing by and say, hey, I want to buy your books. Okay, I want to talk about your books. Okay. We need to let them go.
Hey.
What?
I'm just doing an outro.
No, okay. Over there, Cece.
That's JT.
Thank you, everybody. Take care. Be kind. Bye-bye.
Bye.